Hello, viewers. Welcome to Taxonomy Online Mathematics. In this tutorial, we want to have a discussion on conditional probability as a continuation of the topic probability. So, as the word itself explains or sound, conditional, meaning is a type of probability in which additional information about an event will be provided, whereby instead of giving the probability as a norm, as in events and sample, here additional information will be provided. For example, let's say we want to find the probability of obtaining 4 when a die is thrown. We know when a die is thrown, we know there are sample space up to 6. And if I am asked to find the probability of obtaining 4, we know the sample space will be, so there are going to be 6 as a sample space. If we are asked to find the probability of obtaining 4, it means I only get 4. How many times? Once. So that probability of obtaining 4 will become 1 out of 4, 6. That is a normal probability. Now, but if a condition is provided that find the probability of obtaining 4, given that a set of even numbers has already occurred. Given that even numbers has already occurred. In this case, in that condition, we can also say that if E is the set of even numbers, we can see that 2, 4, 6 become the new sample space from which we can select our 4 from. You can see that we have narrowed in the sample space. So here, finding the probability of obtaining 4, given that even numbers has already occurred, is going to be that in this, how many times will I get 4? I can still get 4 1 times out of how many sample space? Out of 3. So you can see that probability of obtaining 4 alone will give you what we have, 1 over 6, 1 out of 6. Then probability of obtaining 4, given that the even numbers has already occurred, produces 1 out of 3 as that. So this becomes a conditional probability. Condition is provided to solve this question. Alright, so we can solve this in classical aspect, but we can also solve it using formula calculations. We can start, because in this, which means there is a dependency. One event depends on the other. So we can start from the probability of A intersection B, which we know as multiplication rule. That gives us probability of the first event times the probability of the second event. That is what we know. If we are having the intersection, we are having the multiplication of the two probabilities. Now, if you want to say that we are going to find the probability of B, given that A has already occurred, probability of B, given that A has already occurred, then it is going to be in this form. That is a representation of a conditional probability. As a probability of B, given that A has already occurred. Probability of 4, given that even numbers has already occurred. So in this case, we want to find our probability of B, given that A has already occurred. And this is an equation that has a coefficient. So we divide by that coefficient. I will divide through without. So this will also be divided by probability of A. Since the top is multiplying, this will take care of this. Meaning that probability of B, given that A has already occurred, becomes the probability of A intersection B over the probability of what? A. Over the probability of the condition given to you. So it is always the intersection of the two sets over the conditions that have been provided. So now if we have the same question, we say that find the probability of obtaining 4, given that even numbers has already occurred, we need to know that we have our sample space, this sample space. What is the intersection of obtaining 4 and obtaining what? Even numbers. The intersection. So you can see that in this, if I have even numbers, let me use D. In here will only be 4. So the intersection here become 1, 1. So 1 out of what? 6. There are 6 sample space there. So we have 1 out of 6. So intersection become 1 out of 6 divided by the probability of what? A, which is probability of what? Even numbers. And the even numbers are having an event of 1, 2, 3. 3 selection out of what? 6, right? So this is going to be 3 divided by what? 6, which we can change this to become a double division, which will be 3 out of 6. We know we change this to multiplication. 1 out of 6 times, we flip the fractions, 6 out of what? 3. And per that cancellation, we can get what? 1 out of 3 as we had for this. So for calculation's sake, we were using the probability of B, given that A has already occurred. We are going to be using the intersection of the probability over the probability of that condition given to you. I believe we get the concept clear. So in here we have even numbers, we have this. So comparing the two sets, we can see that we are having only what? One event that are intersecting. So they are intersecting out of the major set. And the major set is what? 6. There are 6 elements. Then selecting even numbers out of what? We select the even numbers from the sample space. So it's going to be 3 out of that 6 sample space. So per the formula, we can be able to get that. That is conditional probability. I believe the introduction to the topic is okay by you. In the next episode, we take series of questions just to drum home the understanding of conditional probability. Thank you for watching. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye.